Okay, hi everybody. It's 10 in the evening in Bali and it's 7 in the morning in Utah. And today we have a great opportunity to meet our upline legendary Kenny Anderson, double diamond founder, member of the founder club in Hong Kong and in Europe, and the person who gave a lot of support to our organization. And here is another meeting with him. You can prepare your questions, and the first few questions I would ask to him. And the most important question, Kenny, is how do you sign up leaders? Because a lot of people in our organization has the same focus. They really believe that going and finding leaders in all areas like sport or journalism or politics would bring good leaders to doTERRA. And they know that you've done it before and you keep doing it. So that's the very important question.
Well, first of all, it's great to be with all of you on this call, and thank you for having me. So you're right, Sergey. Finding leaders is, on the business side of doTERRA, a very, very critical element. And I will say this, I have found my leaders in 3 different ways. Number one, I have found people that I knew directly in some way, either through business or friendship or somewhere in a direct association. But then I have also found a lot of leaders through referrals. So for example, a couple years ago, I knew somebody out in Puerto Rico, and I asked that individual, who is the best leader in all of Puerto Rico that you know? And I had them refer me somebody who they thought was really great. I then sent them an invitation on social media, said that we had a common friend, and we had a visit on the opportunity of doTERRA. The third way has been over social media. Although I'm not great at social media, but I do know how to send out a message on Facebook or something simple. So I would say between direct contacts, between referrals, and between social media, those have been the 3 vehicles or elements in which I have found all of my leaders to this point.
Okay, you found them. What did you do as a second step or third step or fourth step?
Okay. So I have 7 steps. And you guys can see me okay?
Yep, perfect.
Okay. The 7 steps that I have used in doTERRA, as I have found people, here they are. Number 1, take a genuine interest in other people. I really enjoy getting to know other people and different things that they do. So I think take time to genuinely get to know other people first. Number 2, decide you've got about 7 seconds to get people's attention. So what are you going to say during those 7 seconds? In my opinion, this is what I say. I tell people I am with a multi-billion-dollar healthcare company, and I travel the world looking for top leaders. And that's my, I guess you'd say, my pitch or my opening introduction. So I tell people I work with a multi-billion-dollar healthcare company, and I travel the world looking for top leaders. And when I find them, I put them in an amazing opportunity. And that is my pitch that I say. And then third, usually that will catch people's attention, and they will say, well, what can you tell me about this company? And I say, yes, I can. When that goes into step number 3. Step number 3 is I tell them about the doTERRA opportunity, which consists of doTERRA the company, doTERRA the products, and doTERRA the business, in that order. doTERRA the company, doTERRA the products, and doTERRA the business, in that order. Step number 4, I send them emails of interest that describe the company, in the opportunity, and I send them products. Number 5, I follow up. And I ask them if they got the products. I let them know how to use the products. Number 6, I qualify them to see, are they going to be a product user only, or are they going to be one of my frontline generals, my top leaders? I qualify them. And then number 7, I sign them. I sign them up and I commit them, and then I train them. So again, take an interest in others, people, introduce the opportunity, I think through a quick, something that will get their attention, like your pitch, I guess you'd say. Number 3, introduce the doTERRA opportunity, which consists of doTERRA the company, doTERRA the products, and doTERRA the business. Number 4, you want to send them some emails and product to give them some information. Number 5, follow up. Number 6, you want to qualify them as either a product user or a product user and a leader. And number 7, sign them up, commit them, and then train them. Those are my 7 steps.
Great, thank you very much. And that brings us to the next question, the question of duplication. A lot of people here already tried the approach of finding leaders, but even when the leader agrees and signs up, then usually leaders in any field, they're already very busy, and they have not enough time and resources to train their second or third generation. How deep you personally did go with the people you enrolled, and how do you face their situation when people that you enroll are busy doing their own projects, their own business, their own career?
Well, great question. The way that I duplicate is to follow that same 7-step method I just barely described. However, you're right, Sergey. Sometimes you'll sign up a leader and they're not committed, they're not dedicated, they don't have the time. And when that happens, you really have to talk to that leader, because if they don't have time to support their team, well, then there's some options. They could, I guess, give you the enrollmentship and have you support them if they have no interest in the business. But of course, you want them to stay in the business, and so I don't like doing that unless that's a win-win-win for everybody. So what I try to do is I really try to recommit them on the opportunity, why they signed up, why they're in there, and try to get them to really engage. Now, if I have somebody that just will not engage and there's somebody below them that is needing help, well, when that's the case, I will oftentimes go to that person who needs the help and ask them what do they need to be supported. That can entail several different things. That may cause them to want to join conference calls like this. That may want them to lead them to potentially, if their leader does not want to be involved in doTERRA, that leader may be willing to give up the enrollmentship and they stay as a sponsor if they just flat out don't have the time. But I think qualifying your leaders at the very beginning is one of the most important things you could do as you build the business, because you need people that are not only capable, but you need people that are committed. And that's something that I spend a very, very careful time with. I don't recruit just anybody to my front line. I feel like I'm interviewing them. I kind of feel like I'm committing them to a very high level of commitment. Now, sometimes people will say they have lots of different companies, they don't have time. And I tell them, when I started doTERRA, I had 4 different companies, I had no time. And so they have to work hard, but they also have to work smart. And then over time, as the opportunity of doTERRA becomes bigger and bigger, they will then be able to slowly start to put away the other companies and dedicate more and more of their time to this opportunity, which of course I'm kind of biased, but I think this is the best opportunity in business that I've ever seen in my lifetime. So that's what I would say.
We position doTERRA as a second or third business in people's life. And we really focus on the part-time business, and we see that it is possible. So we're more talking about the people who are committed, but not fully capable to give 100% or even 70% of their resources to the doTERRA business. So would you go to second, third generation together with this person, training them? Because that's what we do, but we're not sure if maybe you have another approach.
Yes, I would go to them and train them, but what the thing I would be very careful in is if you want to continue to advance in doTERRA, you've got to be careful that you don't do all the work for your leaders. I think this is really important. I had a team some time ago that was in another country, and I could tell that their leaders that came to that lunch did not know, they didn't know the things that they should know in doTERRA. And after the meeting, I asked my leader, I said, how is that leader a silver when they don't really know much about the company? And they said, oh, well, I did all the work for them and I built the team for them. And I said, no. That's not the way we do it. I said, you go to that leader and you tell them they must work on their own, that you're not going to do all the work for them. It's not fair that somebody does all the work for another person and receives all the benefit, that they receive all the benefits for doing nothing. So I think it'd be very, very important to have a heart-to-heart with the person. If they're not interested in supporting their team, I think a very careful heart-to-heart would be needed to say, hey, listen, because here's the thing. I spend 90% of my time with my front leaders, and I encourage them to spend 90% of their time with their front leaders. And then I tell them to tell their leaders to spend 90% of their time with their front leaders. So if you do that, it's very duplicatable. But if you're doing all the work for your teams, all the way down second, third, fourth, fifth generation, you will never have enough time to be able to serve all those people and have them advance. Unless you do a group chat like this, if you do a group call like this can help. But ultimately, you have to really engage those leaders that are above them. And if they're not willing to engage and they're not willing to work and they don't have any interest in doing that, then ultimately they should maybe consider giving their enrollment, because I think it's very important. They need that support. And if you as a leader if you're going to be doing all the work, well, that's not really fair, but it would be better to work something out with that leader. And if you do work something out, it has to be a win-win-win for everybody. And of course, they've got to give their permission to even give up that enrollmentship. But if it is a win-win-win, there will be some people that will say, I don't have the time to do it. Please work with my leader. I'll stay as the sponsor. You can have the enrollmentship, but I don't have any time. Well, you have to make sure it's a win-win-win and everybody's in agreement. Now, I've only had to do that. I can only think of one time in 8 years that I have had that conversation, because of course, my first desire is to have my direct leader engaged. But I know sometimes that happens, and you just have to encourage those people they have to be involved. But if they refuse to be involved and they don't want to give you the enrollmentship, then you need to jump them on some conference calls like this so they can get the information they need. I remember years ago, I had somebody on my 7th level in Italy. She was awesome, and she saw me at a convention, and she said, Kenny, I don't get any support from my upline, but I would love for you to help me. And I remember years ago, I flew out to Italy, and we had the best time, and she had about 80 people out there, and we had some great meetings. And by doing that, her leaders became engaged finally from seeing that. And so you have to reach them eventually, go down as far as you need to make sure that they have the training and the help they need to be able to be successful.
Okay, great, thank you. The next big question is about international development. And maybe not all of you know that Originally, Kenny was invited by CEO of doTERRA, Dave Sterling, and Dave asked Kenny, can you help doTERRA with international growth? And Kenny was the first person to go to Hong Kong and one of the first people to go to Europe, right? To Norway and Germany. So right now, there are a lot of people from many countries here. I see 2 people from Thailand, and the Thailand is opening next year, 2020. There is a really important person from India, and we're looking forward of this huge country being open. And there are other people from a lot of people from Bali actually here on the call. We're looking forward to Indonesia being open. So you know that's kind of my thing. Keep asking you the secrets of international development and opening the new markets. So please share them. Please encourage the group to keep growing in the international markets.
Yes. I mean, early on, I so grateful for not only the invitation of Darren Gates, my good friend that invited me into the company, but also the encouragement of Dave Sterling, who, 8 years ago was very instrumental as well. My conversation with him really motivated me to want to really be involved internationally in doTERRA as they were growing and as they were entering Hong Kong and Korea and Europe, of course. I think my interest from the beginning was always international. I would say probably to this day, 95% of all my volume is international. I only have probably 5% in the US. And I've just always been intrigued and interested in working with people from all over the world. I think maybe one of the reasons is I wanted to have an opportunity to travel with my wife and my children and give them an experience of other cultures around the world and show them, give them an appreciation for other cultures, other people. And it has been awesome. I mean, my kids and my wife and I, we've come to know, honestly, some of the best people on the planet as we have traveled the world and as we have worked with other teams. Internationally, I would say this, it's been very rewarding because of the people. I will say after having, I have teams now, I think 54 countries. And so I do have a little bit of experience with international growth. I will say as time has gone on, I have been a little bit more inclined to wait till a country opens because before a country opens, there's a lot of heavy lifting, and that's okay. I don't mind that, but I remember back in the days of Korea, I remember a lot of trips over there, but we couldn't really do a whole lot at the beginning until the market had the support. So even though I have opened up, helped open up some countries before they were official, I have had a tendency lately to wait a little bit more until there's more support on the ground, because it becomes frustrating when you have people excited, but they can't do anything. And so I would continue to open up, like Thailand's going to be coming up next year. This would be a great time to start reaching out to new leaders in Thailand and let them know, be patient, but we will be coming. And when we come, I would like you to be my, Thailand team or my India team when that happens. But really help them to have proper expectations and help them to be patient, because it can become very, very frustrating for people if you tell them it's coming and they wait a year or two. They become very anxious. And so just set proper expectations is, I guess, what I'm saying.
Kenny, they already have a diamond and another platinum in Thailand. So yeah, if we wait, we will miss the Founders Club in Thailand completely, and we don't want to miss it.
Well, you can definitely start. Usually Founders Club doesn't fill up for quite a long time, even after the market's open. However, if a person is eager to go ahead and move forward, the things you'll want to make sure of is, number one, make sure you have a shipping channel. So important. I remember in Brazil, I tried to start Brazil about 3 years before it started, and it didn't last. It collapsed because there was no support. It was hard to get in, very costly. So just make sure you have a shipping channel. That's the important part. Now, I think in Thailand, you could probably access Malaysia and Singapore for products, and I think that's what I would do. And I would also maybe get to know Will Halterman, who's the general manager out there, who's a really, really good guy, by the way. And if anybody needs any introduction to Will, I'd be happy to introduce them. But I would work with the local people closest to you to try to help you with the shipping and the facilitation of the IT support in the background. That's the most challenging. If you have those things in place, then you can go for it, and you could start early before they officially open.
Yeah, like countries like Brazil or Indonesia is very difficult to ship products to. But in Thailand, they're using their My US from United States. They do pay 25% taxes. Also in Emirates or other Gulf countries, it's technically easy to ship from United States. So I guess that would make the difference. What would you say?
I would say that would make the difference for sure. I I probably picked some hard countries to try early on. Now, I had some good success with Hong Kong, Korea, Europe. Those were very successful going early, but the ones that were more challenging for me were Brazil, the Philippines. Those two were very and South Africa. Those countries were very difficult for me to penetrate early on, and so I ended up just kind of waiting till they opened. And I still had, even though I waited, there was still plenty of opportunity for Founders Club. But if you do have the ability to ship, and you do have the ability to get paid commissions and things like that, then I think that's great. And I think that then go for it and try to open that up as soon as you can if you have those things in place.
Yeah, there were a couple people from Thailand who met with Will on Thursday. He was in Bangkok in his office. So I think, yeah, Tamara raises her hand. I think they already have the blessing and they're ready to go forward.
Perfect.
Yeah, because just having a Thai diamond really kind of strengthened my motivation.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. There are a couple questions from our new partners. They're half New Zealand, half Indian, and they really want to go for India. So first question is, how do you really recognize who do you want in your front line? What type of questions do you ask people that kind of gives you that you become really, you know that that's your front line, that's the builder?
Good. I have seven things I look for. You ready?
Another 7 things?
Another 7 things.
Okay, go.
All good things come in 7. Yeah. Okay, number 1, I look for, these are the qualities I look for in my leaders. Number 1, I look for integrity. They have to be somebody who is principle-centered, somebody who I can trust, somebody who is has integrity. Number 2, somebody that is motivated. They're driven. They're self-motivated. I think that's very important. Number 3, I look for somebody who's committed. Somebody when they find something really good, they're willing to put forth and be committed in it. Now, sometimes that takes time. I was very skeptical of MLM, and most of my leaders have also been skeptical of MLM. But those are the best leaders because they don't just jump at anything. They wait for something really good. And when they find it, they do it. And I look for committed people like that. Number 4, I look for people, I call it hearts of gold. I look for people who, with success, they do good things. I feel like I've got really great leaders who have really good hearts. They are inclined to help people, and they look for opportunities to serve and to help. I really like that. I look for that. That's number 4. Number 5, I look for somebody who's resourceful. If they can't find the answer, they will go find it. They don't wait around. They don't wait for something to come to them. They go out and find it. So resourceful. Number 6, hardworking. And number 7, persistent. Now let me repeat that. Number 1, I look for somebody who has integrity. Number 2, I look for somebody who is self-motivated or driven. Number 3, somebody who is committed when they find something really good. Number 4, I look for people with hearts of gold, that with success, they have a desire to do good things. Number 5, they're resourceful. They go out and find it. If they can't find the answer, they'll go figure it out. Number 6, hardworking. And number 7, persistent. I'll tell you a quick story. When 7, 8 years ago, when I got involved in doTERRA, they had all the presidential diamonds go on stage. They asked all of them the same question. What was the number 1 thing that helped you to become presidential diamond? All 13 independently answered. They all said the same thing. Do you know what they said?
No.
They said persistence. Persistence is the number 1 thing that helped them to continue forward to become a presidential diamond. So I think those 7 things that I shared with you, including the 7th number, persistence, is critical. Those are the things that I look for before anybody's on my front line. I really qualify them in my mind and asking them questions to make sure that they have those key ingredients to be able to be, because I know that's what's going to take to go all the way and become a leader.
Do you sign up people not in the first line, like if they don't qualify these 7 requirements? Like, and
I mean,
if you do sign not in this first line, how do you decide where to sign the person?
Good question. So there have been times, for example, there was one time I had on my front line a dentist. Well, shortly thereafter, I signed up another dentist, and I thought, well, maybe they would work well together because they're both dentists. The only problem was I put the second dentist on my second line, but then the first dentist didn't do anything. So I learned a good lesson from that, and that is, if you have a personal connection with somebody and they meet the requirements, put them on your front line. If you don't have a connection with them and you can transition them to somebody else underneath, maybe in your second or third line, make sure they have a common interest with each other and a reason to work together.
Okay.
Because I think that's important. Otherwise, they may fall off and they don't have the connection, and so they lose interest. So I think if you're going to put somebody on your second or third line, no problem, but just make sure that they have a connection with each other, a common value.
Okay, great. Then one more question from our New Zealand India couple, and you may answer with another set of 7 things. They say you mentioned someone should know about doTERRA. What are the key things that you want people to know about the company?
When I send out emails, I have about 4 or 5 emails, and they're not really that significant, other than they share with people those 3 areas of the company: doTERRA the company, doTERRA the products, and doTERRA the business. So I send them an A to Z guide that shows them the things, products to use for different ailments. I'll share with them a video on healing hands, because I think that shows the heart of the company and their goodness and willingness to serve and share. I send with them some facts and figures about the business, the average income of a distributor. I send them the facts about the company, that it's been around so many years, that it's so big. So I send people maybe 3 or 4 or 5 emails that kind of describe a little bit about the company, a little bit about the products, and a little bit about the business opportunity. And I do that so that they can get just some short glimpses of what it's about, what we do, and how we do it.
Um, are the emails, are they like top secret, or can you share them with us?
I'll send them as we speak. I will send them to you. In fact, Sergey, I'll send them to you, and then you can send them on.
Great, great. I would love to look at them, and I would love to share.
I will send. I've got about 4 or 5 now. One of the ones I share is the one they did on our family when we became Presidential Diamond. But I will share with you. None of them are top secret. I will share with you all of them, and you can decide what is useful for your team.
Great, thank you. It's appreciated. Good. The next question would be about the cross-line teams working together. Like, I have the tendency to really kind of forcefully put people together. Let's work together. Let's do an event together. But as I understand, some people just work on their own. They don't really mix with our, like if there are 2 or 3 groups in the city, they don't really focus on bringing these groups together. What's your approach in terms of?
My approach has been there were times that I was putting people together, kind of forcing, so to speak, people to work together. For me, I did not find that to be very successful for me. I found that when I forced people to work together, oftentimes they didn't have a common interest and they didn't have a connection with one another. So it didn't work as well as I had hoped. I remember one time I had a really great leader. I knew her from real estate. I had worked in real estate with her for a number of years. I tried to put her on my second line and force her to work with somebody else. She came back to me a year later and she said she stopped working, and she said, I don't want to work because I got into this to work with you directly, and you put me under your other line. And it kind of hurt her feelings, to be honest with you. And I felt very badly about that. And so what I do now, when I have somebody that I personally know directly, that I have a history with or I've known for a long time, and I think that they can be a great leader, I put them on my front line because I don't want to offend them. If it's somebody, however, that I don't know very well, and they have a common interest with another team, I'll try to link them up together with another group that has something in common if I don't know them very well, because then I'm not offending them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
And that's how I've done it. I mean, there's probably lots of different approaches that are good and can work, but that's the approach that I've taken myself.
Great. The next question would be about Diamond Club. We will have the first Russian Diamond Club, and December is qualification month, and I think February it will start. Yeah, February it will start. So we believe that it's a great vehicle of growth and success, but we would love to hear your view on your history of the Diamond Club.
I think the Diamond Club is a brilliant program, a great way to advance your efforts. And usually what I recommend is, as you're approaching the Diamond Club, what it does, number one, it provides you with a little bit of assistance as you're traveling. You get assistance from your upline and from the company both. So it's really a great thing to take advantage of. Kind of the rule of thumb that I have had in Diamond Club, you will need 3 sponsors. I recommend going to the 3 that are closest to you first. So, for example, the Chedevis, of course, they wouldn't sponsor everybody in the world in Diamond Club, although everybody would love them to. But I recommend people go to the 3 upline closest to them first. Now, if somebody in that list of 3, 1, 2, 3, cannot do it, then go to your 4th, 5th, and keep going up until you have 3 sponsors. But I think the Diamond Club will motivate you. It helps you to have a list of guidelines you have to qualify for, number one. So it keeps you mentally engaged in accomplishing your goal. but it also has a financial benefit because it also allows your upline and your and the company to participate in your success. I encourage everybody to do the Diamond Club that is qualified to do so, because it will propel you to new growth, and it will really push you to the next level. I think it's great.
Good, thank you. And talking about the goals, do you work with goals yourself? Do you still have ambitious goals in front of you, like, I don't know, double diamond, double presidential, or triple presidential? Or is it like it goes the way it goes for you?
When I first came into doTERRA, I did have some goals. These were my goals. I wanted to be a diamond in 6 months. I wanted to go blue diamond in 18 months, a year and a half, and I wanted to go presidential in 3 years. We hit the first two in 6 months, and then blue diamond in 18 months, and then presidential took me a total of, from the time I began doTERRA, 3 years and 4 months. So we were pretty close to hitting that. Once I hit that goal, I really didn't put a goal for double presidential, and I think this is the reason. One of the greatest things I really enjoy about doTERRA is I love working with my leaders. I love it. I love my leaders, and I love working with them. And I really, my goal is their success. So now that I kind of hit some personal goals in doTERRA, my goal now is to help each one of my leaders become presidential diamond. Now, in that process, I'm always continuing to introduce doTERRA to new people. So I have gained new leaders, and I think I have maybe, I don't know, I probably have now, I don't know, maybe 12 to 14 leaders that I work with pretty consistently. And so my whole goal is to help them succeed. And so if I become presidential, triple presidential diamond someday, so that's great. That's great. But my real goal is to help my leaders succeed. And if they succeed, I will already succeed. So my goal is to help my teams succeed at this stage. And if double presidential or triple presidential or quadruple presidential comes, so be it. It'll be on its own. But my goal is to really just help my leaders succeed at this stage.
Great, thank you. I think I have just one more question, and I ask everybody in the room think about questions they would like to ask and write them down in the Zoom group chat. So I'm not sure that Kenny, you would see, but I would repeat them. Yeah.
Sure.
So my last question would be how you balance the different directions in your life, like how you balance the values in your life, your business, your family, your physical body fitness, and how much you exercise, or do you have any hobbies? So can you talk about that?
Yes. I've always broken my life down into 5 areas. Hey, it's not 7 on that one, Sergey, but it's 5.
Okay.
These are the 5 areas in my personal life that I have always tried to balance my life into. And number 1 is my faith, faith in God, and in trying to live a life that is good and up, that is good, that is one of faith and service. So faith is the first area that I break my life into. The second one is my family, my relationships with my wife and 4 children. We try to spend great quality time, and I try to build that relationship and strengthen those bonds with my family and other people. I also have wonderful friends and people. So faith, relationships. My third would be personal development. I try to keep myself always improving in something, either in my knowledge or just improving in some way, trying to be better. There's always ways to be better and to improve your life. Number 4, health. I try to work out every single morning. During the week, I eat really, really healthy. And then on the weekend, I allow myself an occasional hamburger or pizza, a treat on the weekend. But during the week, I eat really healthy. I try to eat fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean meat. I try to eat in a healthy manner, drink lots of water. And I work out every single morning, at least 5 or 6 days a week for about 45 minutes. And then the last one is, I call it resources. I try to manage my time and resources wisely so that I can use those to help other people, so that I can use those to create opportunities for others, including my own family and my kids. I try to manage my time properly. So these are my 5 areas.
Great.
Years ago, had an opportunity to write a book. There's a book called Common Denominators for Success that I wrote about 8 years ago. And these are the 5 areas that I wrote about: faith, relationships, personal development, health, and resources, which is the management of time and money. And those are the 5 areas that I try to provide.
There is a question in the chat how we can order your book.
Good question. I think it's just on Amazon. I think I don't follow it a lot. I used to go around speaking a little bit on that book, but I think it's just on Amazon. I have a company a long time ago that kind of runs all of that. But if you just look at Common Denominators for Success, it's on there, and I talk about those 5 areas in depth and how those areas have impacted my life. And but those are the 5 areas I try to keep in balance. And I'm not perfect, but I sure try very hard to keep those in balance. So,
yeah, there is a real great question in the chat. Do you still have rejection pains? And do you often get rejection people when you recruit new people? And like, how do you feel when you get rejected?
really good question. Well, probably no one loves to feel rejected, of course, but because the message is so good in doTERRA, because the opportunity is so great, I try not to let rejection get to me. I just, for me personally, doTERRA has been the best business decision I have ever made. It gives me an opportunity to work with people and to work with a product that is amazing and a vehicle that has allowed people to have better health, greater financial independence, and more time to spend doing things that are important to them. So yes, I do get rejection. I don't let that impact me, because I feel like I've got, if anybody's ever seen the movie, have you ever seen the movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you need to get into the chocolate factory?
He need to find this special chocolate.
Yeah, a golden ticket. You had to have a golden ticket. And I feel like I've got always 10 golden tickets in my back pocket. And not everybody's going to take the golden ticket. But as I look around and I find great people that are really great leaders, I like to reach into my back pocket, so to speak, and pull out a golden ticket and hand them an opportunity that can help them to have better health, greater financial freedom, and more time to devote to their families and doing things that are important to them. So yes, I do get rejection. I don't let it bother me too much, because I know that the opportunity is real. And I know that I'm carrying golden tickets that will help people to create a vehicle that will better their lives.
Great. I thought about one more question that I want to ask you. You mentioned about their exercise for physical fitness, but can you be a little more specific about your personal growth program? Like how often you change, like is it some trainings that you take, or a therapy or workshops? How do you set goals in the personal growth area?
Okay, so you're kind of like are you asking kind of like my personal, like kind of like daily habits kind of thing?
Or new things for the year or for a month, like I don't know, um, maybe for 2020 you want to be a better speaker or do more charity. Like how do you choose the personal growth projects, and how often you change the focus in this area?
Okay, good question. So, I mean, I'll just tell you, since you're asking, I'll share with you my personal. I kind of revolve around those those 5 areas that I mentioned. For my faith, what strengthens me in my faith is I I pray every morning and every night. I read scriptures. I study the Bible. That strengthens my faith. With my relationships with my family and others, I try to spend quality time with others. I try to serve. I try to listen. Although my wife is a much better listener than I am. I'm more of a talker, but I try to listen and I try to connect with people and to see how I can add value to their lives. Um, with my health, I try to work out every morning. I try to eat healthy during the week and maybe give myself an occasional treat on a weekend. On my time, on resources, I try to balance my time. Like I say, I usually um, study, scripture in the morning, and then I usually work out every morning at about 5 a.m., 5 to 5:30 a.m. in the morning. And then during the day, I'm working very, very hard. And then at night, I try to spend time with my family and devote time to going to their baseball games or soccer games or to a school event. My son just sang in the choir 3 days ago, so we went and watched his choir event. And then I finish my day. And when I finish my day, I kind of review my day. What did I accomplish? What could I have done better? And then I try to apply those things so that I'm a little bit better every single day. Does that, I hope that maybe
Yep,
answers
yep,
that.
yeah, it does. So a couple short questions from the chat. Uh, how old are your kids?
My kids are, let's see, I'm 50 years old now. I just turned 50 this year. My children are ages almost 21, 18, 16, and 12. And it goes boy, girl, girl, boy. And their names are McKay, Kensington, Becca, and Keaton. And I wonder if I have a picture here, but those are their ages.
If you send me the picture, when I publish the recording, I will publish it together with your pictures.
Okay. In fact, here we go. I'm going to show you this real quick. Let's see. Can you tell me when you can see it?
We do.
Let's see. Those are that. Can you see it okay?
We see it, but rather small, but
I'll send it to you.
Okay, great.
I'll send it to you.
Then the next question would be, what's your favorite product in doTERRA?
This might surprise you. So this is what I take every day. Well, first of all, I love Lifelong Vitality. I take that every morning and I take that every night. I absolutely love that product. In addition to that, I love Serenity. I take 2 Serenity pills, soft gels, every single night, and I sleep really, really good, which I'm grateful for. I also take Terrazyme with every meal, and I do. I like Digestion. I think that's a great one. For cuts on my hand, last night I put Correct X because it's very cold here in Utah, and I put Correct X on the cuts on my fingers. But I would say my very favorite products, boy, I would probably say Lifelong Vitality, Serenity, frankincense. I'll usually try to put a couple drops of frankincense under my tongue every morning. I think Dr. Hill is the one that taught me that. Those are my favorites.
Great. Then there is one more serious question. It comes from Yelena, who is a professional piano player and a piano professor. And she has a lot of musicians, like really top players. They're all very motivated, great leaders, but most of them hate network marketing. So the question is, what do you do when you meet a person who hates network marketing, and how do you show them that doTERRA is different?
Well, when they say they hate network marketing, I get a big smile on my face because I tell them that I used to hate it too. So I can understand and I can relate because I was always very skeptical of network marketing. So I kind of smile when they tell me that. And in my head, I think, wow, they're going to be a great doTERRA distributor because doTERRA is different from other MLM companies. We don't have a lot of confetti coming from the ceiling, a big rah, rah, rah. It's a lot of education, great products. And the company is very concerned about service. And so when people say that, I say, I understand how you feel. I used to feel the same way, but doTERRA is a very, very, very different kind of company. And I try to share with them that the culture in our company is to help others and to really focus on product. And sure, yes, of course, we want to do well at the business too, of course, but we have a much bigger mission, a much deeper mission that motivates us. And I think that when people come to an event in doTERRA or a convention, they see that we are so different than most companies. Our culture is very different and very focused on product and service.
Great, great, thank you. Yeah, I feel the same. And I think all of us feel the same. And one more serious question from Jana from Italy. Have you had any leaders who decided to change their priority with doTERRA, to quit, like after building the business, find the job, but there is a big or substantial team underneath this leader? What would you do? Try to change their mind and or replace them? What's your strategy in that case?
My first choice would be to try to re-engage them to be a leader and to see if I could help them to stay with it. I would like them to stay engaged because they will have the relationship with their team. But in the event that they do not want to do it or they find another job, the one time in 8 years that I did that, I had a leader underneath me that built a very, very good team. Even I think they got all the way to diamond at one time, but they had a job that took them elsewhere. And they called me one day and we talked about it. And they said, Kenny, I'm not going to be able to devote as much time to doTERRA. And so we worked out an arrangement that they gave me the enrollmentship of their front line so that I could work with them directly. Now, this leader that fell out stayed as a sponsor, so they still benefited, but they didn't want the day-to-day activity. So there will be some moments that might make sense that they give you the enrollmentship, but I think that's a last option. I don't like to do that unless there's no other choice. But my first option is to try to keep the original leader engaged first and foremost. But if they absolutely do not want to do it, they do not want to be involved, they don't have any time, then try to create a win-win-win and maybe suggest they give you the enrollmentship, they keep the sponsorship, you can help their leader directly. They're benefiting as well, and so are you, having them as a qualified leg.
Do you use swap as an option in that case? Because
you could. You could. I haven't done a lot of that, but yes, that would be an option as well. Yeah, I think that's sometimes people don't want to swap because they don't want to lose all the benefit of having that leader underneath them. So I find it more likely that they want to keep they want to give up the enrollmentship, but they want to keep the sponsorship because they want the benefit of the volume as it grows. So
okay,
yeah, that's my opinion.
Great. We're almost through the whole hour, and I didn't really notice that we spent all hour together.
It's
And
okay.
yeah,
Congrats.
thank you so much. I think it was really, really important. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to introduce you to a lot of new people. And we made a recording so a lot more people would listen and look at your ideas. And I hope we can do it not every month, as you mentioned, but maybe 2-3 times a year. Because as I always told you, we need to have this connection with upline.
I would love to. Honestly, you just let me know and I will jump on. We're only a phone call away, and I'm always happy to do that. And Sergey, thank you. I have to tell you how impressed I am with your dedication and commitment to your team. Your team is very lucky to have you as a leader. And from day one, I have seen you absolutely devoted to the growth of your leaders, to the development of your team, and that is a fantastic quality. As we talk about leadership, it's all about leadership and finding great leaders, and you epitomize and embody those qualities that are so important. So thanks for bringing this together. Your team is lucky to have you, and I'm excited for you and your team, and we can do this as often as you would like. I'm happy to get on anytime.
Thank you, Kenny. So see you soon.
Okay. Have a great weekend, everybody.
You too.
See you.
Bye-bye.